All right, so today we're going deep, way beyond the headlines about the war in Ukraine.
Yeah, really looking at how one individual, a Danish entrepreneur named Christian Inglev Christensen, is stooping up.
But it's more than just what he's doing, right? We're going to try to get into the why.
The motivations, the philosophy behind it all.
Because anyone can write a check, but this is different.
It really is. And luckily, we've got some amazing source material to work with.
Oh, yeah.
Straight from Christensen's organization, Ukraine Boost APS, their About Us page, and a blog post he wrote.
Not just like corporate jargon, I hope.
No, this is personal, very insightful. You can tell he's really thought this through.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So the About Us page, that's got to be where he lays out his connection to all this.
Right off the bat, he talks about freedom, how that's at the core of everything.
Makes sense, given what's at stake in Ukraine.
But his definition of freedom, that's what's interesting. He sees it as the right to choose your path.
Sure, that's the classic idea.
But there's this added layer of responsibility. Not to infringe on the freedom of others. That's key for him.
Okay, so not just about my freedom, but how my choices impact everyone else's freedom.
Exactly. And that leads right into one of the most powerful lines. War is the ultimate way of taking away people's freedom.
Chilling, when you think about it.
And he doesn't leave it there, all theoretical. He talks about people losing the chance to become parents.
Oh, wow.
Simple joys, time with loved ones, gone.
Really brings it home, doesn't it? The human cost.
It's not just statistics, it's stolen futures.
But Christensen, he doesn't just dwell on the bad stuff, right?
No, he's got this vision, a way forward.
Yeah.
He talks about Ukraine Boost not just being about immediate aid.
It's got to be more long-term.
He wants to see Ukraine thriving, a strong democracy on the world stage.
So he sees this conflict as having implications way beyond Ukraine itself.
It's about the kind of world we're building, what values will prevail.
Okay, that's big picture thinking, for sure. So how's he tackling all this?
Well, he lays out a three-pronged approach. Military, humanitarian, and economic support.
That's a lot to juggle.
But he's practical about it, supplying drones, medical gear.
Yeah.
But also promoting the sale of Ukrainian-made goods.
Like putting your money where your mouth is, literally.
I was struck by how much he emphasizes directness. He's aware of the issues with corruption.
Right, aid not getting where it's supposed to go.
So he's all about tangible results, making every effort count.
But he also admits he can't do it alone.
Oh, absolutely. He's got this great analogy about raindrops carving stone over time.
Small actions adding up to something huge.
And that connects to something he quotes in his blog post from Desmond Tutu.
I love Tutu. What'd he say?
Neutrality in situations of injustice is siding with the oppressor.
Wow, that's a powerful statement. So we can't just sit this one out.
It's a call to action, for sure. But before we dive into the ethics of it all,
let's get practical. How does Christensen actually put this philosophy into action?
well, he's got this really unique business model.
Okay, now I'm really listening.
That's really clever, actually. Instead of relying solely on donations,
which can be, unpredictable.
exactly. He built a business, a for-profit business.
Wait, hold on. I thought we were talking about aid here.
We are. But the profits from this business, they directly fund Ukraine Boost's work.
Okay, now that's interesting. So it's like you buy something, you're helping the cause.
Build right in, yeah. He's actually selling products, all kinds of things.
Like what? Give me an example. I'm curious.
Clothing, accessories, home goods.
Yeah.
They even have Ukrainian artwork.
So it's kind of like showcasing Ukrainian talent to the world.
Right. Giving these artisans a platform, a way to reach global market.
That's brilliant. It's not just aid, it's like empowerment.
Exactly. It's sustainable. It's about rebuilding lives and communities.
Christensen really seems to get that.
Yeah.
It's not just about handouts. It's about giving people the tools to help themselves.
Long-term thinking, for sure. And remember how we talked about collective action?
Yeah, the raindrops, right. Lots of little things making a big difference.
That's a key part of this business model, too.
So it's like if enough people buy these products,
It becomes more than just shopping. It's a statement.
supporting Ukraine, voting with your wallet, that sort of thing.
You got it.
Yeah.
It's about creating a movement, a ripple effect of change.
I like that ripple effect. But we can't forget there's another side to Christensen's work.
Oh, yeah, the ethical dimension, his challenge to pacifism.
That Desmond Tutu quote, it really stuck with me.
It's a tough issue, right? When is inaction just as bad as taking sides?
That's what his blog post really digs into. He doesn't shy away from the hard question.
He gets that pacifism. On the surface, it sounds great. Who doesn't want peace?
But, like he says, there can't be peace without justice.
Right. Just ignoring a problem doesn't make it go away.
He calls it appeasing the aggressor. hoping they'll just stop on their own.
which history shows rarely happens.
So he's making a distinction between, like, true peace building.
Addressing the root causes, not just papering over the cracks.
And there's this other thing he talks about, the weaponization of pacifism.
That's such a powerful phrase. It's like using calls for peace to silence the victims.
Shifting the blame, letting the aggressor off the hook.
It's crucial to look at who benefits from the silence.
Who's actually being served by those calls for peace at any cost?
Sometimes standing up for peace means standing against the people who are violating it.
That's deep stuff. Okay, so we've got Christensen's values, his business model, his views on pacifism.
A pretty well-rounded picture of the guy.
But there's one more piece, isn't there? You mentioned a bigger picture he's got in mind.
Ah, yes, this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay, so last part of our deep dive here. Still looking at Christian Ingelev Christensen and his work in Ukraine. We've covered a lot of ground, his personal values, how his business actually helps, and even his thoughts on pacifism.
And how sometimes staying silent can actually do more harm than good.
Right, exactly. But you hinted at something bigger, a kind of overall theme Christensen keeps coming back to.
It's subtle, not like he spells it out, but it's there. If you look closely at the website and that blog post,
I'm all ears, lay it on me.
Christensen seems to see this war, this conflict in Ukraine, as part of something much bigger.
Bigger than just, one country invading another.
Way bigger. Like a clash between two whole ways of seeing the world. Authoritarianism versus democracy.
Okay, now that's getting into some serious territory. So for him, it's not just about defending Ukraine's borders.
It's about defending a whole system of values. Individual freedom, self-determination, all that.
And that ties back to his definition of freedom, right? Not just for yourself, but ensuring everyone has it.
Bingo. He's basically saying, if a power like Russia can just stomp on a democracy like Ukraine.
It sends a message, a bad one, to the rest of the world.
Exactly. Like, hey, this is how things are going to be from now on.
So he's worried about other democracies being threatened.
That's the implication, yeah. If Ukraine falls, who's next? That kind of thinking.
Man, that's a lot of weight on his shoulders. Makes his whole mission even more intense.
Because it's not just about helping people now, it's about what kind of future we're heading towards.
A future where might makes right. Or where democratic values still have a chance.
Christensen clearly believes this is a fight worth having, one that goes beyond just geography.
Like a fight for the soul of the 21st century, almost.
That's a good way to put it. A battle of ideas between freedom and oppression.
Okay, so, deep stuff. But what does this all mean for the average person? Like me listening to this.
That's the challenge Christensen leaves us with, right? What can we do?
We're not all running businesses or governments.
But we all have values. We all have a sphere of influence, however small.
So what, like, donating to causes I believe in, is that enough?
That's a start. Raising awareness, talking to people, having those hard conversations.
Sometimes it feels like my little bit of effort doesn't even matter.
But remember that raindrop analogy.
Yeah.
Millions of drops can change the landscape.
It's about the collective effort, not just one person doing everything.
And that's ultimately hopeful, isn't it? That we all have a role to play.
I gotta admit, learning about Christensen and what he's doing, it's kind of inspiring.
It reminds you that one person can make a difference, but also...
that we've got to work together, that the future's not set in stone.
Exactly. And that's a powerful message, one worth holding on to.
Well, thanks for taking this deep dive with us today, folks. Hope it gave you some food for thought.
And maybe even spark some ideas for how you can make a difference in your own way.
Because at the end of the day, we all have the power to choose what kind of world we want to live in.